This is the sucker of the time lil, trash blonde villain that was brought into a game where every op character is a thick girl like Marvel, rivals with that ninja babe, but while in Marvel, if you have sweaty balls, you can win here. Our MC has almost no chance. Now, one might say that this is terrible, because my bro is tormented by this maid girl, by this ice princess, by this Kirito wannabe girl, who's in theory is the real MC, but when I say tormented, I mean the good one and the even better one. Yeah, bro, choose your pill hero wannabe trash loser, Chad blonde villain that gets stepped on by mommy maid, and then moves to grab. Ayo, better stop here before the video's down. Now, unfortunately for bro, he can see that in the future he will get locked in a dungeon and become the mechanic boltoy of one, the girls to be emptied every day. I feel so bad for him. That would offer myself to change places. I'm a hero for real. Also, his father went to war and said that when he's back in 1 year, he's better have put a baby inside the maids because they need new heirs. That's what I call running a family like a business. And with all that going on, our boy who's kind of weak, compared to the crazy girls in this world, has to survive the fury of the real MC who's absurdly op. Can he pull that off? Doesn't matter. Because we here to see thick babes, let's get it. It all starts in the castle home of the Campbell family. The main guy starts wondering, wait a second, did I just die in a car crash? I mean, a car accident? Did I travel through time or something? This decoration looks kind of European. And that face in the mirror, it looks like me when I was 17 or 18, except that doesn't make any sense. Because he's a lot older now, he takes another look, surprised. And yeah, he really was pretty good looking when he was younger, before turning into a broke, overweight mess. Just as he's coming to the conclusion that he's getting old, having those kinds of dreams where you reincarnate, just because your life turned out miserable. He grabs a little knife and says he's going to have to confirm it. And blood gushes out. He says it's just a small cut, though it hurts like hell, and he has to lick his finger saying this damn thing feels way too real, then suddenly the memories come rushing in. The guy he reincarnated into is named Moon Campbell, a poor guy who lost all his titles, ended up turned into a beggar, and was abandoned by his family. His father even warned him never to set foot on their land again, or he'd be killed without mercy. Apparently, he committed some terrible crime. He puts his hand over his face and says, damn, I thought this was just a coincidence, but it's not. Unfortunately, I transmigrated into that mentally challenged the guy's body, the blonde-haired villain who wasn't even an elite or anything like that. He used to read the story for a long time. It was called The Protagonist, the strongest woman in history. And yeah, you already know what's coming just from the title. It's a cliche story. The only difference is that the main character is a woman. She's got a family that abandons her, and then she sets out into the world, develops her skills, slays monsters, and becomes a hero. The start of the game, that blonde. Dude, Moon Campbell is one of the early nuisances, sending a bunch of people to try and take her down, but she ends up leveling up like crazy. In the end, his plan gets wrecked, he gets kicked out of the mansion, exiled, and becomes a beggar. 20 chapters later, no one even remembers his name. Reincarnating is great and all, but not in the body of a character who's just a stepping stone for the protagonist to grow. Just then, someone knocks on the door. He says to come in, and the maid enters the room asking what happened. He says it's nothing serious, and she tells him the clothes for tomorrow's banquet have already been delivered. He tells her to just leave them there, but at that moment she notices something odd and asks if he got hurt. He says it was just an accident, nothing to worry about, but then $10. If you guess what she does next? Yep, she kneels down and helps clean the blood. She's seriously a motivated worker, definitely deserves a raise. And she even asks him to please stop hurting himself like that. The guy's blushing like crazy, thinking to himself that he's definitely going to remember this moment. Then she spins around like a top. So she's heading out and tells him to take care of himself as soon as she closes the door. He's sitting there, blushing like a fool, mumbling about how this world is perfect. He's covering his face and flailing, side to side, totally over the moon that he's got an edible maid. Obviously, he's a hopeless otaku. Meanwhile, the maid outside the room thinks, it's weird that he said thank you. Of course he must have been a total jerk before he reincarnated. Now our guy's wondering how someone who was born good-looking and into a noble family ended up with a cute maid, but still thought it was a good idea to provoke the protagonist. The main reason he was exiled is apparently because he tried to drug the third princess or something like that. But now that he knows how that path turns out, he just needs to avoid it entirely to make sure he keeps this cushy life. The first thing he has to do is be careful with that ceremony where all the chaos kicks off. Then it hits him the maid with the thick thighs. Already brought the outfit for the banquet and mentioned it's happening tomorrow. At that point, the guy is rolling around in bed, calling out to the system, the goddess grandpa, the monk. Anyone who can give him a cheat or some kind of power-up problem is if the banquet's already tomorrow. That means he's already done a lot of terrible stuff to the protagonist. He just hopes she doesn't go overboard, like stomping on his face or something. But if she does, hopefully she's wearing black tights and takes her time. Clearly the guy's got well-refined taste, but now he's made up his mind. Tomorrow, as soon as he sees her, he's going to run straight toward her, drop to his knees 3 times, and beg for forgiveness. Suddenly something smacks him on the head and he turns yelling to know who the hell did that. That's when he sees a little book on the bed. He immediately wonders if the cheat has arrived. He grabs it and says finally, God hadn't given up on him. He wasn't destined to be a loser. Forever now is the time to gain infinite knowledge and change his fate with his own hands. But when he opens the book, there's absolutely nothing inside. He starts wondering, does this thing need some kind of special activation stories? Usually take place in Europe. What's the deal with that? Write that in the book. Attacks by making his head bleed and a drop of blood falls onto the page. A dark aura rises. and he starts wondering what's going on. His vision begins to blur, and suddenly, he finds himself with his hands and feet restrained, his neck too. He's all beaten up slowly. He opens his eyes and wonders where he is. When this creepy girl shows up saying he slept for quite a while, he mentions that his body hurts, but she just says pain is inevitable when learning a lesson. He has no idea how sad she really is. She didn't want him to end up like this, but he's been acting cruel and selfish. He should be bringing pain to others. Instead of showing tolerance and making everyone hate him, that was the only way he belonged solely to her. But recently, his heart started to change, and that just wasn't going to work still, no matter how long it took. She was going to purify him with the love she had, and then they'd be together forever. Then bam. A barrage of stabs, and he wakes up back in his room. Home looks like the protagonist might actually like him better as a villain, but if he goes down that path, his life's going to turn into a complete mess, and if he doesn't, it's already a mess. So what's the guy supposed to do? He starts wondering if that was a dream from the past, or maybe a glimpse of the future after all. That whole vision started. When his blood touched the book, maybe it was a kind of future warning triggered by the wrong choice. When he looks at the book again, it says, do not alter fate. He gets it right away. If he went through that whole plan of kneeling 3 times and begging for forgiveness, that would have LED to that outcome, considering how he was tied up and being tortured in that vision suddenly. Getting kicked out of the family and becoming a beggar doesn't seem all that bad anymore. Now he's fired up. He's a modern, intelligent guy, and he can use everything he knows to change not only his own fate, but the fate of the entire country, besides being an aristocrat, isn't even that great. They're all stuck in this tiny little land. He's going to take control of his destiny with his own 2 hands and stop relying on any of that. That said, there he is already sitting down, eating some delicious meat, saying to himself how amazing the life of privilege really is. And that losing all this would truly suck. The one sitting beside him is Moon Campbell, his mother, who honestly looks like she's 18 and damn woman, and she tells him he looks really happy today. His father, Lon, comments that he's probably just excited about the ceremony tomorrow since it'll likely be one of the most important moments of his life. He just goes along with it and says, yeah, trying not to raise suspicion. Meanwhile, his mom says she can't let him go to that banquet, otherwise all the noble girls will be falling all over him. Lan replies, that's not even possible since he has Princess Celia. And any girl who tries something is sure to make her jealous. His mom acting all cute, says she doesn't like this Celia girl, she wasn't cute at all and didn't deserve her son. Now, our boy's just sitting there confused, wondering why his parents have so much faith in him when he was a total jerk and who the heck is this? Celia, that's when it hits him, she's the 3rd princess. The one he tried to drug, which makes her one of the people who bring disaster into his life in the original story. Everyone liked her. But here, classic Sunday. Cold on the outside, warm on the inside? Got it. Moon's feeling down, realizing his parents actually seem like good people. He really was kicked out because he acted like a total bastard and his dad just didn't want to have a rotten son. But that only motivates him more to change his fate. Even if it's risky, he doesn't want to drag his whole family down with him. The real reason his family ends up ruined is that people believe his father ordered him to kill the princess as a form of betrayal. So what he probably needs to do is take the blame himself and make sure no one else gets involved. Problem is the ceremony is already tomorrow and there's no time left to be changing too much. What he finds strange is that if the event is so close, why doesn't he know anything about the drug that's supposed to be used? Is someone going to hand it to him? What's actually going to happen? While he's trying to figure all this out, a maid shows up and he accidentally bumps into her. She falls in a weird way, saying he spilled the madam's black tea when he goes to ask if she's okay. Of course she flinches. Thinking she's about to get chewed out, she sees the tea spill on him and immediately rushes to clean it. That the moment she notices the mess, she's already convinced her life is over, she's going to get fired. And probably be eating dog food on the street by tomorrow. The protagonist realizes